Car, not protected.
Unprotected.
Let's see if I can get in.
Welcome back, one and all. I hope you had a good lunch.
Oh,
Some of you have enrolled yourself for BSpin membership. The receipts for the same can be collected at the registration counter before you leave for the day. Let us now go on with the next session on challenges for the startups in a digitally competitive world by Mr. Sanjay Koppikar, CEO, Quadwave. I would like to call upon stage the session chair, Mr. Vadiraj, to introduce Mr. Sanjay to all of us. Mr. Vadiraj Managoli has been working as Director, Delivery Quality at Capgemini Consulting and Technology Services. Prior to this, he was working at iGate Technologies and Fidelity Investments in testing delivery. He is experienced in different domains like retail, e-commerce, digital imaging, and healthcare. He has interest and exposure on vendor assessment in security domain. He is an engineering graduate with Masters in Business and has co-authored white papers and articles. His current interests are on strategic management, digital transformation, cloud computing, and cybersecurity. Request you to please come over, Mr. Vadiraj.
Thank you. Thanks, Pooja. Good afternoon, everyone. So it was worth waiting till 2 a.m. today morning, to see India win. It's worth it anyway. So it gives me immense pleasure to introduce a multifaceted person. Okay, I'm going to talk about Sanjay Koppikar. He's a Bangalore-based entrepreneur. He's an author. He's a motivational speaker. Okay, philanthropist and a Rotarian. So he has got about 30 years of rich experience in different areas of IT industry with over 25 years as an entrepreneur. He started his career as an 18-year young. When he was 18 years, he started his first company in an IT industry from Dharwad, North Karnataka, Karnataka. In 98, before moving to Bangalore in 2001, he has founded and run different companies like OSS, E-India, Netcode, before he set up Quadwave, which is the current company that he's working for. He's an executive alumni of IIM Bangalore. He's a co-founder, MD and CEO of Quadwave, a global software services company based out of Bangalore, with offices in London and San Jose. He's also co-founder of and investor in a California-based product company called Amper EXP. He is an angel investor supporting startups through a venture called the Venturator. He is the chief mentor for in a startup lab or an incubator called Amper Labs also. He provides consulting to various large global companies on building products and solutions around business process management, BPM, big data and stream analytics, complex events processing, and IoT as well. He is also a philanthropist working with various organizations like Rotary Bangalore, Wards Bangalore, PAPS, PAPCP, Bleed Hope and Pickle Jar. He is also a TEDx speaker. He has been an author and published 2 books so far, and another 3 are in pipeline. The 2 books are called as Bangalore, okay, and Divided Minds. Sanjay was also part of the Karnataka government's Department of Youth Empowerment and Sports Advisory Body, and he was also part of Oman's Ministry of Transport and Telecommunications IT Strategy Panel, automating e-governance for vessel registration in its ports. I am very sure that as an entrepreneur at the age of 18, he will have a lot to share with us. Actually, there are 2 people here who have known him, when he was 18. Okay, one is myself, and another one is Anand sitting there. So we've been schoolmates, and we've been knowing each other for the last about 35 years. So finally, Sanjay.
So that was the last part of the disclaimer that we had. So, good afternoon, everyone. I know this was coming. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. So, yeah, in fact, this is, how do I put it? It's a little challenging for me because I was given a pre-lunch session which was supposed to be a low energy and all bouquet people looking at me, you know. So now I'll have to change it to making it high energy and many more things and all of that stuff. So that's a different challenge. So I started writing my script once again because my challenge is to keep everyone up, right? So the first thing that he said is that he's going to sit in front and he's going to actually snooze if I get into that boring stuff. Okay, so why am I here? Why BSpin, the panel selected me? Is that possibly for speaking about startups, you can get two kinds of people, right? The people who are with the surname Bansals and the other ones who are not successful. Okay, so yeah, they actually picked me up, and then why did they pick me up? That's what I was thinking. Then I realized that if at all I go to a publisher and say that, okay, I'm going to publish a book about how to fail with my own experiences of startups, then publishers would please request me to reduce the number of pages. So that's the qualification I have. So if I'm not able to tell you how to be successful startup, I can be definitely a mentor and a guide to say how not to fail. Okay, so that's the part. So I'm going to talk about us in 2 lines because he has already spoken about. Quadwave is an 11-year-old tech solutions company. So we've been always focused more on to productizing many of the ideas. So our claim to fame is around 6 of the products that we have developed in India for others from ground up are in some or the other areas in Gartner Magic Quadrant. Okay, so one of the very few small companies that can actually claim this kind of thing out there. Okay, and then recently, actually we started this product almost 5 years back. So recently we spawned off another product company called as Ampere AXP out of US. This is basically a product wherein you will be in a position to drag and drop and develop any kind of application. Okay, whether it is blockchain, mobile, or AI related part of it, complex events processing, everything, just like you would have otherwise done a business process management system, you will be in a position to even develop that. So that is one of the things that was completely incubated, developed in India, and yeah, of course it has a global footprint. So I'm not going to spend talking about it. So I hope BSpin is going to call me sometime to talk about it some other time. Okay, so my major concern, having been entrepreneur almost all my life, is why products or startups die so young, right? It's if you look at, if I can borrow the term, infant mortality rate in startups is extremely high. It's extremely critical. Lot of youngsters get into that with a lot of hope, looking at all the Bansals out there in the world, and then just lose out the steam. Why do that happen? Why does it happen all the time? Right? We see some successes, but there are 100x or more failures of it. Why does it happen? So I said, let me take that as a topic today to let us look at what are the causes and how do we actually tune it, tweak it, and make it a success formula. Right? Okay. Now, why do they fail? There are 3 stages. Okay, we know that the first stage is usually the seeding stage. I'm not talking about funding, seed funding and all that. I'm talking about the startup itself as a seed. Then the second phase is the growth stage and the maturity stage. If you think that a well-funded company is a success mantra for a startup, wrong. There are so many companies out there. There are a couple of them which I had listed out. Was one of the Jawbone. and Solyndra, they have been funded almost $1 billion and they failed. Right? Why? So that means the money was not the criteria. Right? So people fail at different rates or different stages. There are many companies which ran a lot of surveys and all of that. So we have got a very good survey out there which talks about a whole lot of things. Right? They talk about one of the major things why things fail is that no market need. Understand this? Almost 42%, no market need. That means a startup or an entrepreneur is actually starting something so excitedly which nobody wants. Can you imagine the kind of pain somebody has to go through this? Okay, why does it happen? It's always either too early to market or too ambitious that, okay, I do this and it is always going to be a success. Right? And if you look at, I've taken huge number of these data and I've kind of got it down into some of the mistakes. This was done by Mark Whittle. This is a very famous slide. Why do they fail? Predominantly, I'll share this. I hope it will be available to everybody. So many people think that I am a sole army. I can conquer anything. So it's a sole guy who's going to run everything. So which means to say that that day attender did not come. So this startup guy is actually going to go ahead and sweep the floor as well. There is nothing less about that because it's your startup, it's your baby, right? Now, a lot of examples. Few of the examples are technical examples or technology related part of it is hiring bad programmers. Oh, you know what? I want to start up. I don't have funds. Let me quickly get into something. What is that something is always obscure. Right? Okay, let me take that guy who's my friend and he's going to work free. Okay, the cost you are going to pay is very, very heavy for the free stuff. The salary you saved, but the cost you have paid is absolute. It's detrimental for a lot of startups. Right? So, slowness in launching. One of the biggest challenges with startup guys is that they have the first day when they started, I have dreamt about 300 requirement list to get onto this particular product. Right? Now, because you guys are from BSpin, I'm sure you know about the minimum viable product. Slowly it is coming into the DNA of the startup guys. It's not necessary that you have 200 features on day one. Have those vital ones which are going to actually make you stand separate. You know, so those are the kinds of things. So, a lot of them, right? Raising too much of money is also a problem. And then poor investor management is also a problem. Right? Family, friends. Select your investors very wisely. So there are so many mistakes that startups do. Predominantly, if you look at all of this, there are these 5 things that are pretty common. As I already explained, no market need is one of them. Being there just right at the time. Let me tell you, as I said, right, I have failed so many times that I can write a book. Okay, but no publisher is willing to take it. That's a different story. Okay, so let me tell you, how does it, you all use WhatsApp or so many chats, right? Now, how about if I tell you that there is this chat which, number one, collates every single chat engines and gives you a single unified feature. It gave translation out of the box. It gave co-browsing. Say for example, yesterday till night 2 o'clock he was watching India playing Bangladesh and struggling to survive. That he wanted to share it with me. If we had to co-browse and watch the same match together and have a private chat session, or think about many features that are there, right? So do you think this was a very good idea? In 2018 it's already a beaten path, but I am talking about 2008, 2009. 3 or 4 years before WhatsApp came. We invested and we started this, and nobody funded it. We had one of the largest Indian media house which had given us a contract of saying that, okay, let us do a revenue share. No VC or angel wanted to fund it. You know what was the reason? They said, dude, things are dying out there, instant messengers are dead, everybody is going to carry mobile phones. I said, sir, everybody is going to be carrying a smartphone someday. It's better that everybody has a chat engine already loaded onto it. They are like, no, why would they chat? Because calls are getting free and SMSs are getting free, why don't they just text? Right? So, we were 3 years earlier, because smartphones were just being taken up by people. It was still quote-unquote rich man's property. Right? So, for 3-4 years down the line, 2011, WhatsApp happens. The same investor calls me, Sanjay, you had something like this, what happened to that? I said, sir, we all, with all due respect, we all said rest in peace for that product, because I didn't have it. Right? So those are the kinds of things. Getting into the market early is also a problem. Everybody realizes getting into market late is always a problem. But there are flip cards. Everybody had beaten a path about e-shopping networks, Amazons of the world, out here in India, FabMart and all those had already started, failed and closed down. And then Flipkart happens. Right? So there are these once in a blue moon real big hits with certain change in their business model. We will not go in there. Ran out of cash. There are so many examples out there which the moment they get funding, they say, okay, let us go and grab as many as people as concerned that are possible. Especially in a consumer-based kind of initiatives, they would just start giving freebies. Freebies? You are going to run out something. And then me as a customer will have another property which will be giving me freebies. Why should I remember? Why will I even remember? Right? So you are going to run out of the cash. You quote unquote had customer acquisition for which you have spent all this money and there is no customer anymore. Right? I will cover a couple of examples which are beautiful examples. Especially if you have known about this product which was Stazilla versus Oyo. So I'll come to that as an example. Okay, team and trust. I'm going to cover one or two examples how a fantastic futuristic idea which everybody could relate to, made the product, went to the market, crowd-funded, and then failed. Just because teams did not gel well. I'll show you an example of that. Okay, so PPP issues. I'm not talking about Pakistan people, whatever, right? So I'm not talking about that. So I'm talking about product pricing and positioning issues. So how do you position it? The very fact that you are going to position it like this, then you are going to actually lose that entire part of it. I'll come to that. And then a bad product. A bad product is a bad product. You as a startup guy should be able to take one step back, look at it dispassionately. Yes, it is your child, as the previous speaker had spoken about the hype curve as a child, right? You take it dispassionately and call it a spade. In my company, all my engineers absolutely hate me when it comes to review, right? The same functionalities, I beat them so bad. I know that I can see the hatred coming out. Because these people would have spent days and nights logging to put this functionality out, and I'm going to just run it down. Guys, can you see these things? What are you talking about? Why would somebody go and left click on a touch, right click on a touch-based device? Why would somebody do that? Have you even figured it out? So they feel, why is he actually pulling his own team which has survived through my ups and downs with me? Some people have been working with me for last 20, 25 years. right? They always feel, why does he pull us down so much? Then only to realize, if we don't do it, customer is going to do it ultimately. And then we do not have a fallback. We lost it, right? So those are the bad product part of it, okay? So, okay, let me ask you a question. So I spent, just writing this particular line, I spent at least 10 to 15 minutes. You must be wondering, why did you do that? I was thinking, should I write is or was? Okay, so actually I wrote is put a strike through, and then I changed it to. So can you tell me why Apple, arguably, is and was one of the most valued company out there? What is so different? So let me try and keep you guys awake. Sorry?
Aspirational.
No, aspirational is notional, right? So you cannot quantify of why it should be valued.
Product.
Product everybody else had. So if you are talking about smartphone, I used to have Windows mobile thing right from 2003 and all of that. You remember with the stylus it came and you had to actually do a program and start and all of that stuff there.
I think
Design capabilities. Product design capabilities.
simplicity of customer.
Simplicity I doubt because
Customer centric.
They talk about the pain point, how they solve technically.
okay. Now let me address
I
this.
believe it's the aspiration that we created among the people. Because everyone is having a mobile phone, but then today we feel proud to basically own an iPhone. So basically,
No, that became later. That became much later after it became a brand. Let us not go there. Why was it understood as a part? So let us take one step back. If you talk about product, because somebody said product, there are so many smartphones which are cheaper, better spec, all of that, right? So there cannot be any argument. Just ask anybody who's anti-Apple, I'll give you 1,000 specs which are not there in Apple. But the Apple guys would go back and stand overnight to get the next version out there. Why do they do that? Right? Okay, let us look at the other parts. I'm going to take a same view, which is a Western view, and the same concept from an Indian perspective, Indian historical and mythological perspective. Two different guys. One is a management consultant in the West, another one is a mythologist in India, talking exactly the same thing. And that is so important for all of us here. Okay, let me touch upon this. What is different? So let me ask, what does your company do? Or any company, what does your company do? It's very easy to tell, because we do this. I am a software solutions company. You are IoT device manufacturer. You are whatever, right? How do you do that? Oh, okay, I work offshore and then there is on-site, there is a cost arbitrage so that I can actually leverage that and make my money. Sure. How do you do that? It's very simple. I have an on-site model, offshore model, blah, 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 blah. But what is most important, and we all get stuck, is somebody asks, why? Why? Why do you do this? Why does your company exist? Or why does your product exist? If your answer is, oh, okay, Samsung is making money, so let me also make money. Then once Samsung goes out of relevance for that product, you are also out because they are no longer there.
You are relevant to customer.
Absolutely, I'll come to that. That example, I'll come to that. Why do you exist? Again, let me take Simon Sinek, who has spoken about this elaborately. I think you should go through that. Beautifully puts it up. He takes Apple example itself. Okay, what he does is that what Apple did in the first place is that when they possibly wrote their vision statement or a mission statement, rather more mission statement, they did not write it as most valued company. They did not write that. You know what they said? They wrote, making technology accessible to anyone out there in the street. Make it simple so that my dad, who never touches upon a gadget, he should be in a position to use some of these gadgets. Make technology simple and accessible, that's it. So that's when they came out with iPod, where there used to be many more USB based those players you used to have, but iPod was different. Why? It gave us so many things that are different. Playing music industry, it actually changed the music industry if you look at it. Whatever example the other gentleman gave, that have you bought a CD or a cassette, something. In fact, I wanted to tell him that I didn't want to raise my hand and be different in the crowd because I just bought turntables. If you don't realize what is turntables, only one gentleman laughed because he realizes it. Because turntables are these record players and a plate and all that. My dad has huge collection of them, so I wanted to be nostalgic, so I always bought that. So I wanted to race, but then I just held myself back. Okay. Now, he changed the entire music industry, right? But was it his statement that he has to make a product that changes music industry? No. He wanted a common person who is jogging out there need not have to carry a big, bulky Walkman or something like that, but carry a small iPod that takes huge number of songs that he can take along, he or she can take along. Same thing with iPhone. When it came in, they did not want to say that we are going to make the first fantabulistic smartphone. Yeah, Apple actually claims that way anyway. So that's a different case. But the fact of the matter was, if you see the products that existed prior to that, they had, okay, do you know how to use Windows phone? Rather, Windows desktop? Yes, sir. Okay, you can use my Windows phone.
Yeah.
Because you have a program button there, and that opens up a menu, you see all programs, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so instead of using a laptop or a computer, now you can use it on mobile also. So that means my dad, who never touched upon a PC, would never use this product anyways. So why is an extremely important factor in here. The same concept is explained by Devdutt Pattanaik, who's a mythologist, talking about Indian belief system. Okay, about 3 B's. Belief is why, that something will work. Okay, behavior is how, and business is what. So it always comes this way. It is always inside out, never from outside in. If you think that I'm going to do this business and how, you will never be able to answer why. First is always the belief that you are going to change something. It need not be changing the world itself. Okay, I hope you are able to relate to this, right? Okay, so that's it. Okay, so everybody knows the unfortunate Me Too things that are happening in US and Hollywood, and slowly I hope it comes to Bollywood too. So there is a very quirky movement, Me Too movement, that has been happening in startups from very long back. Just because there is a success in the West, Me Too, let me start it in India. Okay, let me make one statement, and I'm going to be held responsible for that for sure, I know. 90% of the VCs and the angels or so-called guys out there are fund managers in India, especially. I'm making this statement with full responsibility. There are fantastic VCs that I have heard stories about, like Kalari, like Miss Vani Kola. There are some fantastic guys, just leave them out, because I have heard so many great stories about them going all out to help the startups. Leave them. I don't know her, nor the company, so it's no longer, I'm no way associated with them, but I have heard about so many stories from the startups. Fantastic. I'm talking about the rest of the guys. There are huge amount of them who are just fund managers. Is it successful there? And then let us put it out here. So that is the Me Too part of it. Many startups actually fall prey to this Me Too movement in startups. There is no uniqueness. have something very uniquely yours. That's when there will be success, because there is another person, possibly your neighbor, also trying out the exact same idea of using Me Too movement. So what is the uniqueness?